To the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Canto 2, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization, text number 7. Prayena munayo rajan nivrita vidisedata nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare Gunanukathane Hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukathane Hare Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare. Anyone else would like to chant Nityananda Prabhu? Would you like to chant? Prayena munayo rajan Nivrita vidisedata Nirgunyastharamante sma Gunanukatane Hare. Please repeat word for word. Prayena, mainly. Munaya, all sages. Rajan, O king. Nivrita, above. Vidhi, regulative principles. Sedata, from restrictions. Nirgunyastha, transcendentally situated. Ramante, take pleasure in. Sma, distinctly, Gunanukatane, describing the glories, Hare, of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. O King Parikshit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Purport. The topmost transcendentalist is a liberated soul and is therefore not within the purview of the regulative principles. A neophyte who is intended to be promoted to the spiritual plane is guided by the spiritual master under regulative principles. He may be compared to a patient who is treated by various restrictions under medical jurisdiction. Generally, liberated souls also take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities. As mentioned above, since Narayana, Hari, the personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation, His form and attributes are not material. The topmost transcendentalists or the liberated souls realize Him by advanced experience of transcendental knowledge, and therefore they take pleasure in the discussion of the transcendental qualities of the Lord's pastimes. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.9, the personality of Godhead declares that His appearance and activities are all divyam, or transcendental. The common man who is under the spell of material energy takes it for granted that the Lord is like one of us, and therefore he refuses to accept the transcendental nature of the Lord's form, nature, etc. The topmost transcendentalist is not interested in anything material, and his taking interest in the matter of the Lord's activities is definite proof that the Lord is not like one of us in the material world. In the Vedic literatures also, it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is one, but that He is engaged in His transcendental pastimes in the company of His unalloyed devotees, and that simultaneously He is present as the Super Soul and expansion of Baladev in the heart of all living entities. Therefore, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure in hearing and describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord and not in merging into His impersonal Brahman existence, for which the impersonalist monist aspires. Real transcendental pleasure is realized in the glorification of the transcendental Lord and not in the feeling of being situated in His impersonal feature. But there are also others who are not the topmost transcendentalists but are in a lower status, and who do not take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Rather, they discuss the activities of the Lord formally with the aim of merging into His existence. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurvai Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Shivaya Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming for the Bhagavatam class this morning. So it's a very nice, very kind of one of the most important verses I've read. It talks about the importance of following the protocols, following the regulated principles, following the instructions, basically Vaidhi Bhakti, right? Vaidhi Bhakti, following the whole process as it's given to us. So we all know there is two types of processes. There is Vaidhi Bhakti and there is Raganuga Bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti is basically following all the instructions, following the regulated principles. There's two types of ways that is done. There is Yam and Niyam. Yam is following the regulated principles, the 4 regulated principles that have been assigned to us. No intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, and no illicit sex. That's called Yama. And then there's Niyam, that's positive also, not just giving up. Also chanting 16 rounds minimum every day. That's Niyam, that's policy that we should do every day. So, and the other one is Raganuga Bhakti, which means that spontaneous love for the Supreme Lord, which is not very common, which only very few souls can get to. So, but anyone, any ordinary person can get to the level of Raganuga Bhakti, but that level can only come by following the Vaidhi Bhakti principle. So Prabhupada explains, just like if a person is sick and he's been given a prescription by a doctor, that doctor knows how the person can get better, and he should follow in the instructions of that doctor if he wants to get better. If he doesn't want to get better, then it's okay, he can do whatever he likes, then because eventually, he can do whatever he feels. Just everyone has an independent choice, an independent decision to make. But if he is very sincere in fixing his health, he has to follow the protocols, he has to follow the prescription given by the doctor, otherwise things will become very difficult. Otherwise he will not be able to get the desired result, which is the good health. So similarly, in bhakti as well, we have been given these principles, these protocols, all these things are assigned to us by the disciplic succession. In Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada explains that we are Rupanugas, because we follow in the footstep of Rupa Goswami, because he is our most exalted Acharya, who has laid down very easily. Like Nectar of Instruction is the best book to read, Like I remember one of my favorite books is Nectar of Instruction to read, because it just tells us everything that we need to know about bhakti, basically. It's like a small bomb, you can carry with you all the time, Like I remember it was Bhakti Vinod Maharaj, when I was studying Bhakti Shastri in Mayapur, he was teaching us Nectar of Instruction. And he was saying that wherever he goes, like wherever you go, you can just carry this small little book, It doesn't require too much space. Like when we meet people on book distribution, we're trying to show them books. They're like, I'm traveling, I can't carry too much luggage. It's very difficult. Then I show them this small little book of like Nectar of Instruction or Perfection of Yoga. I'm like, wherever you go, you can take this book, And the heaviest thing you carry with you is your mind anyway. Can we have the volume down a little? It's just feeding back to me. Thank you. So, yeah, it's very important to remember that Nectar of Instruction is a very special book. It doesn't take years and years to finish that book, just like Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, It's been 3 years, I'm still trying to finish it up. So Nectar of Instruction is very simple, and we can read it over and over again. And that book is so nectar, that's why it's called Nectar of Instruction. It's so nectar that we can relish the instructions every single day and remember how to do everything in bhakti, how to associate with devotees, what's the purpose of bhakti, how we can advance in devotees, how we can fall in bhakti. Everything is mentioned. The first 4 verses are like one of the most important for a Vaidhi Bhakti practitioner. Thank you for the volume. So it's very nice to remember that point. And Prabhupada mentions that if one wants to increase or one wants to advance in spiritual life, one should follow the acharyas and try to do it as it's given to us rather than speculating, Tat tat karma pravartanat. That's the word in Nectar of Instruction, that's the sentence. So tat tat karma pravartanat means following in the footsteps of the acharyas has been given to us. So we should remember that if we want to advance, we should follow the people who have advanced in life, who have advanced in the spiritual world. So another beautiful point is, why should we follow the acharya? What does the acharya has to offer to us? A person might think like that. And then we remember, because Krishna in Bhagavad Gita himself says that, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. If you just try to inquire, just try to learn the truth by approaching to a spiritual master and rendering service unto him. So these are the 2 main processes. If you want to learn something, we should do that. We should first of all approach to a spiritual master and then render devotional service. Because if you don't render devotional service, it's incomplete transaction. It doesn't work. You can inquire, but it won't affect you. You won't be able to understand that knowledge anyway if there is no devotional service. So that's another beautiful point that we should try and remember. And another beautiful point I was actually thinking about this morning is how Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, both of them are like very exalted devotees. They are Raganuga Bhaktas, they're right on the top, But they still being told, like Maharaj Parikshit is being told to follow the Vedic principles, Sit down here, you got 7 days to live. Shukadev Goswami is telling him that forget about everything else, you can only have 7 days to live. It's time to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Why is he doing that, He's already got the love of devotion in his heart, He doesn't have to, because he's always remembering Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit is such an advanced soul that he doesn't forget Krishna. He always remembers Krishna. But he's still being guided by Shukadev Goswami to sit down and listen and hear the Krishna Katha. That's only when we can understand the ultimate goal. So one must understand this is only for the benefit of us, In these great personalities in Bhagavatam, they all have been guided in a similar way. Like, for example, Hanuman, Hanuman never forgets Ramachandra. But he was still guided by a sage to meditate on Lord Ramachandra until he meets him. So he did that. So we should remember that. This is very important, being engaged. The only reason we are being told constantly to remember Krishna is because that's the ultimate goal of life. You can have... I was remembering Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he was giving a talk and he was mentioning that, there's much knowledge out available. There's so much knowledge, and that knowledge is kind of useless because you can read it, it just doesn't make any sense, You keep on reading that knowledge, it won't help you in the ultimate goal of life. You're still going to die and forget that knowledge. So this transcendental knowledge is the ultimate goal. It's the Raja Vidya, Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, they say this is Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam. The most transcendental information, the most confidential knowledge that we all should remember and we all should try to learn. So this is another beautiful point that we should remember, is that reading Prabhupada's books, distributing books, again, that's one of the most basic essence of remembering Krishna. Because I remember Vaisheshika Prabhu, in Vaisheshika Prabhu's books, Our Family Business, it says that Prabhupada was mentioning that this is samadhi. Book distribution is samadhi. That's the highest level of yoga. Only very limited people have ever reached that level. So if you want to be, and Prabhupada has given it to everyone, reaching on the level of samadhi. So if we want to perfect our life, we should follow the instruction of Prabhupada. Like following the Vedic Bhakti practice, like waking up in the morning, chanting 16 rounds, attending Mangal Arati, coming for morning Bhagavatam class, and maybe you can watch it from Mayapur TV, but whatever works. The main essence is to get knowledge, get it from anywhere, but it should get it. So following all these principles, doing our service, engaging in devotional service every day, all these things are prime necessities to advance in spiritual life, If you try to think that maybe I should not do that and do that, then things will not be the same. The essence will not be there. So we should remember that, There will be many discrepancies, there will be many problems on the way that will come, but we should not let it affect or slow down our progress, So in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami is mentioned, there are 4 types of ways. There are 6 ways you can advance in spiritual life. Utsaha Nishchaya Dharyat Tatat Karma Pravartanat Sangat Tyagat Satovrite Sadhi Bhakti Prasiddhyati. Right? So Utsaha Nishchaya Dharyat, Utsahan, enthusiasm, Nishchaya, determination, and Dharyat, patience. These are the first 3 skills that one should have if we want to make. And these 3 skills in today's Kali Yuga society are not very easy to have, Enthusiasm is probably the worst of all to practice spiritual life. We can see that, I go out every day on books and I try to give these books to people. They're highly unenthusiastic about receiving those books. But there'll also be some souls, you'll meet them in your life. If you go out, you'll see them. They're like, wow, this is awesome. This is something I really want, But what happens? Determination is not there. So they'll go home, keep it on the side and forget about the book. It was just like a one-time thing. Oh, I received that book. But what happens? Did I get to read it? No, because I'm not determined to read that book. So determination in Kali Yuga is also very lacking, Like we can see that in New Zealand, that's the research says that people have the lowest motivation to do anything. Because why do young people in New Zealand have the highest suicide rate in the world? And the only reason of that, one of the main reasons based on my research, is lack of motivation in life. Because they don't have motivation because they don't have to work. If you don't work, government is going to take care of you. You get benefits. So why do you have to go to work? You can just sit home and have marijuana and just chill life, have a chill life. Why do you have to work? Why take so much pressure in life? But an intelligent person knows that working is important. If you don't work, like my mom, when I was growing up, my mom used to say that an empty mind is a devil's home, So if you don't do anything, your mind will be very distracted, and Maya is so strong. We know that, It only takes a few seconds just to get in there, and that's it. End of destruction. So we should remember, patience is also a very important key. Many times we see that, even in Prabhupada times, so many devotees came, but they left, because they did not have that patience, that skill. Because patience is probably not easily got in this Kali Yuga society. People have anything but patience, You can see that on the street every day. That's why book distribution is such an awesome service, Whatever you read, you can actually see that out there in practicality, like how these things are important. Like patience, like talking on patience reminds me of the story of my Guru Maharaj. Like how for 2 years he would go out every day, every single day, not even 8 hours, more than 8 hours, on Fridays, on the weekends he will go, he wouldn't even do it until 2 o'clock at night, because there's rock concerts and all that stuff, and then come back home and chant a little bit around, then attend Mangalarti, take a little bit of sleep, attend the Bhagavatam class, and out the door again, back on book distribution the next day, do the same thing. So constantly he was doing that, but no results. No books were going out, Hardly anyone could do that, If sometimes book doesn't go out for me, I just want to take a few days off, like just to, maybe my sadhana is lacking, so I just want to recharge on my sadhana, I don't think I want to do the service anymore, All these things can come. But again, once you have the taste for book distribution, and you realize that is the most pleasing service to Prabhupada, eventually you will have to go, because this is your heart and soul. Many devotees we know from the very beginning have given their heart and soul to the service, We recently have Vijay Prabhu here, who has dedicated all his life, heart and soul he has given to that service without any fail. Anything he thinks of is book distribution, All he wants to do is to distribute books, because this is the most pleasing service to Prabhupada. So after 2 years of, struggling every single day, I remember His Holiness Devamrita Swami, my Guru Maharaj, was saying that he would be like sitting at the University of Oklahoma, and he would be in tears. He's like, why do I have to do this service? Why do I have to do this service, But he was still determined. He was very determined and patient because he knows it pleases Prabhupada. He always had that in his head. So he would still go up, without being, after 2 years, books just started flying out automatically in one day. He did 40 Mahabooks, We go every day, we can't even do 40 Mahabooks in one day. A person who hasn't done books in 2 years is flying out 40 Mahabooks, That's inconceivable, You cannot just imagine from your ordinary head, how is that possible? And everyone was in shock. They were like, what's going on, Like, how are you doing this, And he was like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on. So we should remember that Krishna, if you want to achieve Krishna, you got to follow Utsaha, Nishaya, Dharya, Tatat Karma Pravartana. Tatat Karma Pravartana is also very important because it tells us to follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas, Like we can see that even in current material society. If you want to succeed in life, you have to follow someone who is a leader in that area, You have to follow, right? So, for example, like me, back in the day, I would look up to Kurt Cobain because he was my greatest, I just felt so much inspiration from his music. I'm like, this is awesome, He's like giving me motivation in life. But very soon, very later, I realized that that's not actually good motivation that I'm getting. It's negative consciousness that I'm getting, because a guy who killed himself at 27 years old is not very qualified to instruct another person how to live a life, So this is what we should remember, that is intelligence. So the problem with current society is that we don't have the right idols or the right people to look up to. That's why so many young people fall in the trap of following the negative conscious energy, chasing the negative aspect of life, because, that's what the current society is all about. But very few people would have that intelligence to think and, maybe I should not follow the negative, maybe I should follow the positive energy. And now that's actually become one of the most talked things on internet right now. The inspirational, motivational, all these speeches, talks and all that. The research says that that's top 5 things that people have looked up after negative, 3 negative and 1 positive. So we should remember that if we want to elevate ourselves to a higher consciousness, we got to follow in the footsteps of people who have a higher consciousness, Approaching a spiritual master is one of those areas we should look up to, Like sometimes I meet on people on books and they say, I know, like especially Indians, they're the best at that. They're like, I know everything. I know all about these books. One day I met this Indian guy somewhere in New Zealand and he was saying, I know everything about Bhagavad Gita. I'm like, yeah, how many chapters in Bhagavad Gita? I just questioned him right on the spot. He's like, 21 chapters. I'm like, where did you get extra chapters from? Do you have a special Bhagavad Gita? Did Krishna spoke to you extra few verses that we did not get? He's like, no, there is 21 chapters. Like, I just showed him the Bhagavad Gita. There's 18 chapters in there. Like, well, your Bhagavad Gita is not correct. That's what he told me. So, people with that mindset, you can't really argue with them, because they're total mode of ignorance. They don't want to know. They don't want to learn. They just think they know everything, And how would people like that ever make advancement in life, It's just very difficult in making advancement in spiritual life with that kind of attitude. So, there are many things that stop us from our heart, because it's full of Kali Yuga activities and dust. So it becomes sometimes very difficult to make advancement, and it comes in the way, Our mind is like the first goal of mind is to tell you that you're a good boy, Does anyone ever feel like that, or is it just me, The mind tells you that you're a good boy. You'll just be fine, You're doing okay. Everyone else might be doing it wrong, but you're doing okay, That's the first activity of the mind, is to tell you that you are doing just fine. You are all good, Everything is okay. But an intelligent person knows, even though he's suffering, he's going through so many problems in the world, he knows everything is not okay, Things are not okay. Things can be better. Why am I struggling? Like asking the main questions of life, the main goal of life. What should a person do at the time of death? Which is being asked by Sukadev Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit to Sukadev Goswami, And everyone knows that they're going to die, right? Is anyone here who is not going to die? No? Everyone's here going to die. We all know that. Even the people outside know that. We all going to die, but they just don't want to focus. Because they think that's the negative part. We want to stay on the positive things in life. We want to focus on the positive lifestyle, like how we can live this life, rather than focusing on the negative that, I'm going to die, Which is the ultimate goal. Everyone's going to die. An intelligent person knows. It's like you take a train, right? You take a train. You know what stop you're going to get at. You don't just sit in the train and just going around back and forth, Just thinking maybe life will guide me. I don't want to know where I'm going to get down, I'll just want to sit in the train, enjoy the train ride. But that's not the goal of the train. We all know that. The goal of the train is to get you to a destination, which you have to go. So similarly, this human life, this body we have is a goal to get us to the destination where we all have to go at the end of the day. And we should prepare ourselves in such a way by reading Krishna Katha, by engaging our senses fully in the service of the Lord, because at the end of the day, Prabhupada says at the end of the purport that many people have the ultimate goal of life just to merge in the Brahma Jyoti, or the light, as they call it, There's a beautiful Prabhupada pastime where this lady was telling Prabhupada, I think she was a devotee, but I'm not sure, was telling Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I see light. I can see light now. Prabhupada said, just keep chanting. The light will go away. So that's not the ultimate goal. Light, achieving the merging with the light is not the ultimate goal for a devotee. For a devotee, the ultimate goal is to be in the association of Krishna and to still be engaged in the service of Krishna. That's the highest platform. Like Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, many exalted souls, which are Raganugas, And our goal is to achieve that level, but only through Vaidhi Bhakti that is possible. Otherwise, you can just speculate. Many people, like if you go to India, there's 1 Baba, 2 Baba, 100 Babas, 1,000 Babas. Many Babas always giving you light and like how to get the wisdom of life, how to get the ultimate source. But again, it's not for a show. Having a spiritual teacher is not just for the show of it. A spiritual teacher is it's a very big responsibility. It's not all fun and games, like I have a spiritual teacher. Like we see that many rich people in India, actually, sometimes we hear that stories that everyone has like some sort of spiritual teacher, like tells them about life, but they don't know anything about their life, Those spiritual teachers do not have control on the senses. And Rupa Goswami, the first instruction is you should not make disciples unless you have sense of control, control on the senses. You should not be making any disciples. You're not qualified. That's why is this thing the first instruction from Rupa Goswami? I was thinking about that point. Why the first thing Rupa Goswami mentions is not make disciples unless you're qualified to make disciples. Because we see that in current society. Why? Because everyone wants to be a leader. Everyone wants to have followers and everyone wants to have money. That's the current Kali Yuga society, So they only do it for sense gratification. And Rupa Goswami could have very intelligent personality, He knows that this will be the future, where everyone would want to be a spiritual teacher without any spiritual knowledge or realization. So that's why he said it to us, He said it very clearly that Vacha vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udara prastha vegam etan vitanyo visahita dira. Shishyas, what's the last line? Shishyasteham, that's Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, I'm confused in two lines, but Visahita Dira. The English translation is the one who, unless one has controlled the mind, the urges of the tongue, body, genitals, one should not be qualified to make disciples all over the world, So one should not be qualified. One is not qualified to make disciples all over the world. So this is a very important instruction we should remember, Because sometimes I was thinking about this point actually, that sometimes, because of influence of the Kali Yuga activities, we like to be in that position of leadership. Like everyone wants to be a leader, right? Like you see like in India or anywhere in the world, people just want to be on the leadership level, because they want people to love them in that level, surrender to them, because I am the man, I am the main person in charge. And they like that. Everyone likes to have that. But again, are you qualified to be on that level? That's the big question, We've had these great people, Mahatma Gandhi, like these great people who have been like on that platform of leadership. But again, it wasn't for them, it was for another purpose, That what makes a good leader a good leader. So the point I was trying to make is about motivation and mentorship. Like mentorship is very crucial, Because a mentor knows that the highest goal and he guides a person in such a way, Because one cannot be forced as a mentor, Like if someone wants to be my mentor, I will not just accept him as my mentor just out of nowhere, He has to qualify. I need to see those qualities of a mentor in that person to accept him as my mentor. Similarly, a mentor does the same thing, A mentor looks to another person who he's going to be instructing or who he's going to be helping. And that's actually another beautiful point. I was thinking that a mentor's role is not to instruct. That's the role of a teacher. A mentor's role is to help a person advance without instructing, but as a friend, Because the relationship between a mentor and, like, for example, my mentor should be very open, If I'm not able to express myself to my mentor openly, then the relationship will not be there. And what's the point of even having a mentor, if you're not able to express yourself? So this is very crucial point that if one wants to be a good mentor, one should have that open relationship between two people, a loving relationship. Because unless you can express yourself fully, then there's no point being a mentor. Otherwise, you'll just be a manager, just telling people what to do, If you want to be a motivator, if you want to be a mentor, you have to have that connection from the heart, It should come from the heart from a person when he accepts a mentor. Just like Sukadev Goswami, he's his teacher, he's his mentor. He's guiding him because it's come from the heart. He's such a great soul, we all know that. And those qualities are present. And Maharaj Parikshit can see those qualities and he appreciates that. because he's telling him not to, do your sense gratification and just focus on the major goal of life. It connects from the heart. So we should remember that. And yeah, there's quite an interesting topic. I can share a few more things, but I'll see if someone has any questions or comments before. Yes, Nityananda. Yes. I didn't get the first part of the question. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of both ways. Even if because that's the nature of the mind, is to always question, keep questioning yourself. Is it okay? Is it doing good? As long as if you're not having a good day, we all know that ultimately the result is not ours. Ours is only to do the service. That's correct. But again, a devotee always wants to improve in the service. So he's always having these constant questions, why is this not going good day? How am I sadhana poor? This is spiritual anxiety. So it's good to have that anxiety, because you can always advance in your spiritual service. Because, my Guru Maharaj says the first reason that a person falls down is because of that ego. That false ego that comes that I'm good at what I do. I'm the best. As soon as you get that ego, very easily you fall down from that platform of service, Because there's many reasons we should know that if you want to make advancement in life, or in anything actually, spiritual world, material world, you need to keep improving yourself. Even like Kobe Bryant, we've just been speaking about Kobe Bryant recently in the material world so much because he passed away. And that guy, everyone likes him because he's always improving. Even though he's a legend, he's a champion, he's always improving himself to get better. He never thinks that I am the best. I've reached that place where I can't get any better. That an intelligent and wise person who's good at that doesn't think like that. That I can't get any better than that. He's always pushing himself to get even more better. And in the material world, if people work so hard to get better, why shouldn't we do that in the spiritual level? Like pushing ourselves in devotional service constantly. Why shouldn't we do that? We should keep pushing ourselves. Does that make any sense? Does that answer your question? Yeah. So the goal is just to keep pushing. I think a devotee, even if you don't want to, these thoughts will come in your head constantly. Like, am I doing okay? How's my sadhana? And it's good to have those questions. Otherwise, how are you going to track the progress that we are making in devotional service? Or just come here, do your service, come and do your service. How would you know you're advancing in spiritual life? Only by those questions, right? Is that make sense? Only by those questions you keep on constantly thinking yourself, is my sadhana good enough to keep doing the service? I'm pretty sure my Guru Maharaj's sadhana was awesome in the first 2 years without even getting results, and he kept on pushing himself. He didn't just give up and just go live in the forest, This is not working out, I might try something else. Because our minds do that. I sometimes think like that. It's not working out, I should try something else, An intelligent person doesn't think like that. It's just keep doing, It'll come. Prabhupada says just keep chanting. The light will go away, just like that. You keep doing your service, the service will come to you. Krishna will reveal from the heart how to do the service better. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, right? I give intelligence from which you can come to me. So, does that answer your question? Yeah. Anything else, or? Sure. Yeah, I guess we'll just stop here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your kind intention. Hare Krishna. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.